What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the background you hear. I normally have like a thing to mute the background audio, but it's not working right now. I'm just gonna have to deal with it, but I still wanted to make videos in the meantime, so it's just like a slight annoyance, but you'll still be able to hear me fine. You might hear an occasional door open or something, but before I start my video, I kind of want to have this thing where I want my videos to be I don't really care too much about the length. Like some videos gonna be short, some videos gonna be long, but more so I want to break my videos down into parts instead of just being like, okay, I'll make an introduction video and make this really in-depth thing because I don't learn that way, and I think a lot of people like the course kind of style where it's like you teach the concept, we teach like a couple things, make another video, teach a couple things, and you kind of group things together instead of one big thing. Because like it's easier to retain information for me, and I've learned a lot of people also like to retain information that way. You just learn chunks at a time. That's kind of how I'm gonna do it. So in today's video, I'm gonna be teaching grid, but I'm not gonna go over everything in this video. I'm gonna kind of have like a basis of like laying stuff down, then kind of make it towards a course or have go over one thing, go over another thing, and then have like a project that I will code and like have you code along, and I'll like kind of like pause it in between coding to like to see if you can do it, and then like you can pause the video on your own time, and then I'll I'll just pause the video a couple seconds, and then resume, and just type it out. You can either just watch if you don't know what to do, or you can just pause it and then do the work and unpause it to see if you got either see if you got it right or if you got it close enough to where it's okay. I understand it, but I missed that one part. Just to get more out of the videos if you wanted to code and learn it. But if not, you just watch it all the way through. So, I'm going to kind of just go over the basics really quick, and then I may or may not do a little bit of coding in this video. I probably will. I'll go over this and like code it up a bit, like a quick demonstration. So, kind of how Flexbox was. There's a container. You set that, and all the children are directly under it. And then the items are the children go inside the container. You can even have multiple grids inside of each other to make subgrids. So this is important stuff. There's grid line, grid cell, and grid track. Grid lines are they can be either vertical or horizontal. So there's the column grid lines, and these are the horizontal grid lines. So this counts as 1, 2, and 3. And these are the rows because they go across, and these are the columns. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be column 3. And this will all make more sense as I explain more of it. And then there's grid cell. Grid cell is basically each unit. Obviously, where each corner meets, that's one cell. 2, 3. Grid track. Track is like either the entire line or the entire column. So this is a grid track. This is a grid track. Then grid area. Grid area anywhere between 4 grid lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This area. So like coloring in like not even this entire thing could be a grid area, but yeah, it can be composed of any number of grid cells. So this can be as big as you want. Kind of how the other video I explained Flexbox, it has it set up to there's the properties for the parent and there's the properties for the children. We're gonna quickly go through all of this. So first off, display defines the element as a grid container, establishes a new grid formatting context for its contents. So basically, unlike Flexbox, it automatically takes all of its children and it tries to take up the least amount of space as possible. Whenever you do display grid, nothing happens at first. Everything happens in the background. Basically, there's, like it says here, establishes the format, like for you to be able to put have the parent and then put the children underneath there, and then basically there's the grid there, but you can't see it until you start putting items into the grid and setting the size for the grid and things like that. And there's also inline grid, which I haven't done too much on. I'll probably research some more on this and then do something with it just to show a demonstration of it. And then grid template columns, grid template rows. So this is why I was talking about how this stuff's so important, because this is where you determine the size of them, what the minimum value is, what the max value is, how much you want it to increase by. So, like it says, defines the columns and rows of the grid with a space separated list of values. That's just for the syntax of it, like how it's styled. The space is right here. It represents the track size, and the space between them represents the grid line. What that means is the track size will come down here. Instead of just reading off there, I'll just show you this. This is the track size. Like for this, it's 40 pixels, and this is the row. So this first row, well, not the entire row, but the first, we're just going to say the first cell is 40 pixels, and the second cell is 50 pixels, and then it's auto, and then it's 50 pixels, and then 40 pixels. And then you come in here for the columns. This first column is set to 25%. The second column is set to 100%, 100 pixels, I mean. And then this one is set to auto. But it says here, which I won't go over too much, but I'll try and it should make sense. I'll do this like on my very last project for the course. So grid template columns, you can name them, put them in these curly brackets, or in the brackets I mean. Like it says here, you got the first one, which is here, the first column, and it ends at line 2. That's the first one. You set it to 40 pixels. Then it takes, so the thing about these is you can use the ending one for the start of the next one. So basically these can have two names, which will make sense sooner or later. So these have two names, you can use them over. So line 2 to line 3 is 50 pixels. Then line 3 to column 4 start is auto. Then column 4 start to 5 is 50 pixels. And then 5 to end is 40 pixels. Same thing for this. You got the row. I said 25% from row 1 start to row end start. Row end to third line is 100 pixels. See how it says it goes from 1 to 3? This is basically saying this is 1, but it's also 2 as well. Because it's basically saying this is like as if this is row 2 start. And it just goes third. And then third line to last line is auto. This line can have more than one name. You can have two names, row 1 end and row 2 start. Yeah, that's different than this, but essentially the same thing. If you want, this is probably easier to understand, but if you get used to this, it's better because it's less code. This is very important. The repeat notation. Instead of repeating yourself, you just use repeat and you save a lot of time. Repeat 3, 20 pixels, and this is what it looks like. 20 pixels, column start, 20 pixels, column start, 20 pixels, column start. It's like, okay, I'm repeating this thing 3 times. We're going to repeat 3, 20 pixels, column start. And once I actually start coding, like, this can be very confusing, but the easiest way to do it is just to type something up, but I'll just give you like a quick template to type up, and then come in here and just try all these things out, which is normally how I do things. I just try things out until I understand it. They share the same name, referenced by the line name and count. 104, 104. Let's see, grid template areas. This one is by referencing the name where they're specified. That's just syntax for it. So basically, this is what this is. You have, I'm going to do this well. So basically, you have header, right? And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. So you have to make sure that, okay, I want my header to fully span across. I'm gonna apply 4 so they can take this away. Because if you leave a space empty, it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna, or it'll just end here, and then it'll just be like a white space here because there's nothing taking up the space. But if you want empty space, then you put this dot here. That dot tells the computer, I want this space to be empty, and it leaves it empty for you. So here we go. Two units for main, empty space, sidebar, footer spans across. We're gonna use footer on all 4 of the elements. Each row in your declaration needs to have the same number of cells. Because if you don't have the same number and you aren't doing this, you're gonna get an error and your code's not gonna run basically. And let's see, this I will cover later on, but this is a shorthand for everything I just told you. Grid template rows, columns, areas is a little more complicated, so I wouldn't worry about it for now. Then we got gap. Gap is just space between the gutters. So in between the columns and rows, you can put a space for each child that's underneath the parent, and it just looks really nice and super quick to just add space on your content so everything isn't bunched together like this. 10 pixels, 10 pixels. This is the column gap. So in between each column, 10 pixels. In between each row, you got row gap is 15 pixels. And there's a shorthand where it's just gap that you can do row gap, which is right here. You grid row gap and your column gap. Right, 15 pixels for the row, 10 pixels for the column. And then this stuff I'm not gonna worry about for now because I'm gonna show you a alternative to a simpler way of doing this. And I also haven't really used this. I basically just use Flexbox combined with the grid, which is really nice because they work together really well. So I'm actually gonna come in here and show you some code. I'm gonna cut this out for now. Since I already have it up, I'm just gonna kind of have it here and then explain it line for line as I go through it. And all this other stuff is just gonna be styling. I'll even come out and take these out just to go through it again. So you see everything's getting messed up. Actually, it's fine now, but I'll show you why you need to do that. And then I'll even take this off. No, I'll keep this. This is fine. Okay. So come here in HTML. We got container, nothing new. Same thing in Flexbox. This flex class, this isn't Flexbox. Well, it is Flexbox, but it's not doing the same as this. This is just for styling. So I know that this is in a Flexbox container, and I can apply Flexbox things like justify content, line content to these list items. But when you do this, we got our nav, we got our main, which I just have h1 as some text in there. Image, I'm gonna take this out because I'm not using this, not for this one at least. I'm gonna close this main, and we got our footer. Very simple code. Let me come in here. Let's start with this. So we have it set to display grid. Like I said, it doesn't do anything. If I come in here, let me save this really quick. You're not gonna see anything. Actually, let's see. I haven't seen this. Well, you do see things, but it doesn't tell you much. It just has these are sizes, and none of these sizes say the same or anything. And since I have this right here, the media query, it's adjusting, but it will be messed up if I took it off. Can I comment this out while I'm in this? Probably. Let me see. I'm not gonna worry about it then. Yeah, it looks fine now, but yeah, like I said, this is why you need to name them because this stuff over here is falling out of the container, and you don't want that. But Let's come back in here really quickly. Let me drag this over. Okay, there we go. It messed up for a second. Let's do this. So we got display grid, and we're gonna come in here and first I'm gonna start out with these grid template columns and grid template area. Okay, that's not what I want to do. Let's go back and let's get rid of that, and let's do this. Okay, I don't know why it's messing up. I'm trying to uncomment this. Let me just do this. This is making it really complicated for me for some reason. Grid template rows, grid template columns. Okay. Let's just come in here and do this really quick. So we got, let's get rid of this. So we got grid template columns. Okay, there we go. This is better. You can't really see anything here. So the columns would be like here, here. Basically, they start with equal spacing. I'm gonna take this off. So you see nothing. Yeah, everything stretched back. I'm gonna do this. You're gonna want to use this a lot for like, let's just say have this layout and I don't know exactly how I want it. You can just have things take up as much space as they need. The only time you come in here and type something specific like this, let's say I wanted to do 200 pixels, 1 FR, and 200 pixels. Oh, and 200 pixels would be, I think it looks like that because I haven't defined the rows yet, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But I should be able to show this still really quickly. Basically, what this means is the first column will be 200 pixels at the least. It can grow and shrink, but it's gonna start as soon as it's actually no. As soon as it's not 200, it'll break and then go on to a new line if it needs to. It's always gonna be 200 pixels, which is actually why it's causing that. Because let me see really quick. Let's look at this grid. Yeah, and it's not assigned. It doesn't know where to go to, so all the content just bunches up together. But I put these back on, so I'm actually not sure why it's doing this. It might be because of this. I'm gonna do this real quick and then go back and let's do that. Repeat to 3 auto. Huh. Grid temp. This is gonna be really hard to do, which is why I wanted to break it up into parts instead of just doing all at once. This will be a very long video. I'm not sure why it's doing that. This is why I kind of stick to doing it like with the repeat. It makes things so much simpler. Repeat, and then let's do what I have it at 3, 1 FR. Okay, we got that center. That's the columns, and then we got repeat. I don't know if auto is good for this. I'm gonna do like, I think this one not gonna do that. I'm gonna do like 200 pick. I'm gonna do auto, 1 FR, auto. Huh. Okay, hold on. Let me figure out what's wrong. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I was gonna do something. You can do this without using grid template areas, but as I'm already using them, I'm just gonna go through with it, and I'll do like a quick demonstration next another video without doing this. Just like very simple. You don't even know what exactly you want your template names to be, like what the rows and columns that you named. You kind of just want to be able to just put content on there as you decide what you want to put on there. Because if I do this, I'm not sure what happens. Let's see. Okay, that just brings it up. And what if I take these off? Everything just goes up. Okay. Let's see what's happening inside of here. That makes sense. Everything is going into the columns. Yeah, because you got the columns here. I don't like this though. There's just container issues, like things are too big. There's a lot of text. I could probably come in here really quick and just take all this text out just to make this work a lot better. Let's just do one paragraph. Close this really quick. Let's just do this. See what happens. And then let's come in here. Not that. I meant to click on inspect. And let's see. Okay, that looks a lot better. Yeah, that's really good. So got the auto for 104, 104, 104 for the columns. And then for the row, you got auto 104. Okay. Now let's just put all these back on. But honestly, yeah, if you can't figure out how you want your thing to be designed, it works a lot better. That's the same thing I was saying. Look at that. Now the nav bar is fully stretched across. Main content's fully stretched across, and the footer is fully stretched across. And this is centered because I put this right here. So I was talking about why you want to use Flexbox and Grid together, why they work really well. Because once I put these in here, they're in the grid container, but I want to style them better, so I put this flex on there, and I put space between. This is equal space in between each of the list items. Align the items to the center. I put a gap for a little extra spacing, and wrap for when the screen gets smaller, it wraps onto the next line. It's very simple to do. It works really well together. And also this gap here is for a little extra spacing as well. It's like right here. Doesn't really do much, but and then let's come in, and basically this is the same exact code. I figured out that you can put this code inside of the actual unit, like grabbing the main or footer tag or nav tag and putting flex on that instead of making this. But I like this because it's not really that much harder to come in here and put a class of flex instead of putting this under each one. And then let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to go over? I think that's it. Nothing else comes to mind. I would make sure the next video is a lot more organized and a lot more simple to understand, but I would come to the site and kind of just reread on some of the things, but I'll watch the video back and make sure that my next video I have like a very clear goal and like have you have something to work towards and make it more interactive. But I think this was a pretty good start to grid, and there's like some valuable information in there. Hopefully I made it easy to for you to be able to come in here and look at my code and then even like copy it and then make your own version of it. I'm kind of messing with it. Yeah, even this like I'll mess around with this and like explain it more on. But if you watch my Flexbox video, you probably understand this. I'll explain it real quick actually. So basically, this sets all as soon as it gets to here, all the items are turned to blocks, which means they go on this left side here and take up their own space. And I put the width 100 so they span all the way across. Make sure the list items take up that full space and they have their own line. And line content center. So there's some space here on the left and right. And yeah, basically when it's like mobile, it's on the phone, that's what you see. It looks a lot nicer than seeing this on a phone. But yeah, thank you for watching.